I wanna get, just made a check, on my paquet, even my jacket, that bitch I got, that whip I got, this watch I got, everything I got, mucho dinero, 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 mucho dinero.
Alrighty, thank you guys for tuning in to Kickin' In with Tyree. I have my guest here. Let's introduce yourself.
What's going on? I'm Ryan. I'm the owner and head engineer here at HiFive Studios.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thank you for letting me come through. I always start off with one question. How did you get started with music?
I've been doing music forever, pretty much since I was a little kid, and realized that I pretty much right away that I wanted to make music and either being a rock star, or whatever it was. But as I started to get into it, getting in studios when I was in high school, I realized that this was what I really loved to do, and being able to help kind of bring people's music to life, like that was what really drew me to it at first. And now it's, I still get to be a part of making music all day long, and but I get to collaborate with people, and that's great. But I don't have time or really anything to be able to make my own music.
Yeah.
But, at least I'd be able to do that with everyone else. So
Yep.
I love doing that.
You're bringing everybody else's visions to life.
Absolutely.
Great about it.
And putting my little stamp on it, however I can do that.
Yep. How did HiFive Studios come to?
Yeah, so I'd been doing it for a while in a lot smaller space, and not only just the size constraints were an issue, but just really wanting to do something where if I'm gonna build a studio, I want to make sure that this is like the best thing that I can do, because I can only build something from the ground up once.
Yep.
And so I was lucky enough to find a building that I really liked, and got a studio designer that was super good, and he was kind of able to help bring my vision to life that way. And it's been great, because I wanted to make sure that if I got a studio that nothing's getting in the way of the creative process. Like, there's always drum sets set up. There's always, the vocal booth is always clear and ready. There's always microphones. There's always these things. So it's like we're in here. We're making music. We're doing that. There's no constraint as far as the space or what we're trying to do or how we're patching things in. Every room is wired up. You can plug a microphone or a guitar and you're going. So that was really that was the idea behind it, and super happy with how it turned out.
Definitely. I feel like you've built like this huge community.
Yeah.
Of just like people who come here, people who
right.
might not even record music, but like.
Well, we're all a part of it.
Yeah.
It's like, we all work together. Like, when you make a record, it's not just, here's my record and you're done. You need cover art, you need photography, you need video, you need marketing, you need all these other things that go along with it. I mean, and we all need to work together to be doing this.
Yeah.
And it's, even other, studio owners or engineers, like, I love that they're here and a part of this too, because we're gonna make the city better because we're all working together.
Definitely.
And really, that community aspect is the biggest thing I'm trying to do, and really, because you think about these cities like Atlanta or Nashville or Chicago or LA, New York. The one thing is everybody's working together, and you see somebody successful in Milwaukee, you support them, and I hate the idea of seeing somebody get a little bit of success and then people start wanting to bring them down. Like,
that's the worst part about it. I feel like we're one of the cities that doesn't like move as a community.
Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like we're getting to that point where we're all like really meeting each other for like the first time, and we're like clicking as a group.
Definitely. And there's always going to be those outliers of people that aren't going to be interested in that, but a bigger voice and a bigger community is going to outshine any of that stuff. So, there's so much talent in the city and so much going on that, we're going to make people pay attention to us because we're this big collective of people doing something really special. Yeah,
definitely. What is your biggest inspiration in music?
Biggest inspiration in music, honestly, it's just somebody doing something that I'm like, wow, how exactly did they do that?
Yeah.
I want to do that better. Like, I just get inspired by people doing things that are really good. Sure. And that could be any genre, any style. I mean, it can be mixing, it can be recording, it can be whatever it is. But just I get inspired by people who are really thinking outside the box, and they really want to make something that is unique, because I don't want to just go through the motions making music. I don't want any mix I do to sound the same as the next one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to make sure everything I'm doing is always the best, and trying to push the envelope and trying to push myself. And when I see people doing that, that just lights a fire under me, because there's other engineers that are really good. And when I hear a mix that I'm like, that sounds good. Like, I got to step my game up a little bit, you know? And, like, that's what I love. And that's why I want to have people around, because we're all going to push each other to get better.
Yeah.
And that's the, you know, it's like, once you start to get comfortable, you're like, I got this. Someone else is going to get better and pass you by right away.
Yep.
Never be comfortable. Yeah. Ever.
Can't ever be comfortable.
Yeah.
Can't really, I feel like you can't really slow down.
For sure.
You could take, like, small breaks, but, like...
Yeah, don't burn yourself out.
Yeah.
Take a moment to, you do something, like, enjoy it for a second. You know, that's okay, but, yeah, don't be like, well, I had this one big hit, or my video got 1 million views, so I made it.
I'm just gonna stop.
Like, now the next one better have 3.
Yeah.
You know, now your next record
Even
better do
better
more streams.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever it is. And, you know, that's what we got to keep doing, is just pushing each other and all working together to be doing this.
What is kind of your creative process when it comes to the studio, just your work? Yeah, I mean, really, I want to get to know the artist, number one. And for me, when I understand who the artist is, what their sound is, what their, you know, what their influences are, what they're trying to do, then I can really start to kind of create, you know, craft the sound around what they're trying to do. Yeah.
And the other big thing for me is, I don't believe in fixing anything in a mix or doing something like, oh, we can take care of that later in mixing, or we can do this. Make the sound how you want it to sound right away.
Yeah.
And commit to it and move. You know, so many people are like, well, I want to redo this verse, or I want to do this, or I want to do that. And sometimes that's great. You're just, you know, you just heard something. You're just, you know, working out something you just written, of course. But, like, at some point, you have to just say, this is done. This is good. We're going to move on. We're going to start, you know, we're going to go on to either finish this project or move on to the next one. Commit to it and go. Because you're going to have that point of diminishing returns where your next verse you lay down is going to be worse than the last one.
Yeah.
Because if everyone else around you is like, this is perfect, like, there's no clicks, there's no pops, like, your flow is right, everything is good, what are you searching for?
I feel like I definitely feel like a lot of people are, like, just aren't used to hearing their voice.
That's a huge thing.
And then they hear it, and then they want to change it because they don't understand that, like, that's what they sound like, and it won't change at all.
Or, you know, you have, like, you've recorded, maybe you've done some demos in your bedroom or something, and you got a sound that you're kind of, you not only do you like, but you're used to, and then you go into somewhere else, and it's like, wow, well, this is different. And sometimes different can be bad, perceived that way, even if it's not. Yeah. You know, and it's hard because sometimes you got to help people get out of their own way, because you can't always be chasing after, you know, that kind of, that sound that is in your head, like, just like you said, because you're not used to what it might be, because you need to have people around that you trust. And that's another thing about the creative process and things in general. I believe in building relationships with people, because I want you to trust me when I say this is good or this is bad. Yeah. Either way, you know that I have your best interest in mind, that what I'm saying is, you know the product is going to be right when it's done. And that's why I'm not trying to have people just come in and out all day. Yeah. You know, when I get someone in here, I want to make sure that they're coming back. Yeah. And, you know, that's when you can really start making the best music, is when you know the people.
And you know exactly what they want.
Yes, exactly. And they're comfortable enough to be here that they're not going to be nervous getting behind the mic or picking up a guitar or whatever, because so much of making music is being comfortable and having that vibe and having that be right, that we need to make sure to be creating that too. You know, we want to make sure that people are comfortable kind of doing things and kind of enjoying what it is that we're doing. And that's the thing, like, we got the lounge, that's great too, because people can kind of go and get out of
the studio and, like, just chill for a second.
Right, or have people around too that, you know, if maybe there's a part where you're like, I just want to be in the studio by myself, like, your friend's got a place to go. But
they can just go sit outside.
Yeah, but then you can also go and kind of just remove yourself from that situation. Like, I need to kind of reset too, so.
But just, what is kind of the importance of Milwaukee into what you do? What do you want to bring up in Milwaukee?
Well, I mean, because I grew up here, so after I was done in LA and I knew I was going to be coming back here, I knew that I didn't want to just have a successful studio.
Yeah.
And I didn't, like, obviously I want to have a successful studio and I want to be one of those names that you know, like, but for me, I want to see people talk about Milwaukee as one of those cities that, you know, we leave an impression on the rest of the country or outside of it. And it can be a moment of time, you know, right now, you know, it could be, you know, 5-6 years where there's some music, or it can be something that goes on forever. Like, everything is so small now with the internet. And people can send music here to get mixed and do these things, or they can want to work with artists that are here. Like, you know, I've had plenty of people, they're getting features from people from Atlanta or whatever, or Chicago or whatever it might be. Like, I want to make sure that people are saying, well, I want to get features from them. Yeah, and when we do have someone blow up from here, they're proud about being from Milwaukee. And we're making, you know, a Milwaukee sound and it's not just, oh, well, this kind of sounds like Detroit, or this kind of sounds like Chicago. It's like being able to create something that's ours.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of similarities because we're so close.
It's impossible not to.
Yeah, it's impossible not to sound alike because we're literally 2 hours away from, or an hour and a half away from Chicago. Yeah. 6 hours away from Detroit, but we're so close and we see each other on the timeline so much, so it's like if we built something just here instead of like having to branch off, I feel like that's exactly what we need. It's like a market for us here. Yeah. And it'll do so much for the community, I feel like, because it'll take away from the extracurricular activities that people are doing normally.
No, you know, and that's the thing. And being able to have the opportunity to do something else where maybe you didn't think you would have that before. Yeah. And, you know, there's always going to be, like you're saying, extracurricular activities. And even if that's pushing you, like, helping you get to what you really want to do, you know, making music or getting into this creative field. Maybe it's making videos or you know, producing beats or taking pictures for people or making cover art or any of these things. There's so many opportunities to get involved in the music scene here. And I just want to make sure that we're creating something where everybody feels comfortable to come and be a part of that. And that's what's so great about Milwaukee is you always hear like, oh, this is such a segregated city or all these things, but we have these monthly networking events where there's literally everybody from every different background, musically, religion, race, creed, everything. When we all come together with one commonality, and that's music, and we all realize that we just get along so great. And that's huge because this isn't like a specific little niche part of Milwaukee that we're trying to build. It's everything in Milwaukee. And crossing over into things like, it's not just, even now, like, hip-hop isn't just hip-hop. Rock isn't just rock. Like, there's so many crossovers in those things.
It's just like a mix of one. Like, hip-hop is not just, I keep telling people, like, it's a subgenre. There's subgenres within hip-hop. And there's subgenres within, like, every piece of music, but...
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you're always going to be better when you can be exposed to things that maybe you didn't know before, that you can bring those elements into your music, into whatever genre it is that you're doing, and that's going to give you something that's different and unique and interesting too, because, you know, don't just copy, don't, you know, like, if you're doing hip-hop and you're like, well, I like, you know, Juice WRLD, so I'm going to just find a Juice WRLD type beat, and I'm going to be like, well, how does Juice WRLD make him sound? Well, how do you sound? What do you want to do? That's a great way to start understanding how to build up your voice and build up your instrument and understand how you work, but at some point, find somebody that's going to be able to make, you know, that instrumental for you. That's going to be your sound. Figure out what your signature sound is going to be based on, you know, however you're recording it or whatever plugins you're trying to put on your voice or whatever it might be, because, you know, no one's gonna remember you if you're just copying somebody else. Like, you can be really talented,
but you're just a duplicate of someone else.
Exactly. Be the one that has somebody making that type beat about you.
Yeah, like, oh, I saw something that was like Drake type beat, J. Cole type beat. I see that all the time, like on the internet. Yeah. But like, I feel like a lot of people take that and try to sound, like you said, exactly like
right,
them.
because you're fitting yourself into what either that beat is, or even if it's inspired by a specific song, what the sound and the overall feeling of that song was. Where if you have something that's a brand new beat, that's a completely different sound, that you're putting your own, what you're feeling into it, that's not completely, you're inspired by people, obviously. Yeah. Everybody sounds a little bit like something, and we always need to, like, put everything into these little neat, tight little boxes that, well, you sound like this and this and this, or everything else. I mean, that's life. I mean, we all have to do that, but find a way to make that specifically your own.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talent in this city, and if we have the ability to all be working together and knowing people that do these things, like, you can find somebody that makes beats that you love. Yeah. But what about, like, the 7 other people that make them a little bit differently, that can offer you a different perspective, that can also
offer you a different sound. You don't have to sound the exact same
every single time. That doesn't mean that person isn't fantastic.
Yeah.
Because you're going to keep going back to them. But, like, I say the same thing about engineering and mixing, too. Like, I want to win, and I want to record everybody, but sometimes there's going to be another engineer, another mixer that just is going to do a specific artist better than I would.
Yeah.
And that's okay, because I have a specific sound and they have a specific sound. And if I know that I can send somebody to someone for something specific that maybe I can't do and they would do the same for me, we're both winning.
Yeah, everyone, that's the thing, it's enough, as people say, it's enough money to go around for everybody. Like, everybody can get their stuff done. It doesn't take... It's not a competition.
It's not a competition. And there's always going to be another generation of people coming up.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't stop. There's not, this is how many artists we have in the city and we all have to fight over it. There's always going to be new ones. And, like I was saying before, like, we can get people from Detroit, Chicago, Minnesota, Ohio, anywhere. It's as simple as flying in or sending some music that you recorded because you like how we mix a specific way. I mean, so many of the best mixers that you know right now, I mean, half of them, they're barely meeting the artists.
Yeah.
They get sent, and then they get sent back, and maybe it might even just be through the label.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. Like, the reason we're trying to build this community too is, like, start getting labels to be paying attention to what we're doing. And then not only if the label pays attention to one person,
it's gonna start paying attention to more and more.
Because we have all these people around doing it.
Yeah, I feel like that's the next thing. It takes one not even gigantic label to come in. No. It just takes one label to just take a look, and they'll see the market that's here, and it's untapped. There's so much untapped potential here.
Because as soon as that happens, then not only that label, but other labels are going to be like, well, what else is there?
Yeah.
Because you see something, like, we see in Detroit,
yeah.
One thing happens, and all of a sudden, now you see a bunch of stuff coming up.
Yeah.
Because people start paying attention.
Yeah.
And we have to be working together to make that. We got to be pushing that, like, so-and-so is successful, like, like we were saying before, like, people kind of hating on them or not want to see them succeed. It's like, you're going to be better because they're doing better.
Yeah, people will look at you because they are doing better also. They say, where did this guy come from? Let's see what
else is going on. Yeah. And then you see how much talent there is, and we're all working together trying to do this. And then you see, like, a label's not going to want to have to deal with a lot of, if you sign an artist, there's not a lot of money in the music industry like there was before.
Yeah.
So if you make an investment, it better be a super smart investment. You can't have a ridiculous background with a bunch of stuff that the label's going to deal with, because that's a headache that they can't handle.
Yeah.
That A&R is going to lose their job if they're doing this. So, if you come in and then you realize that there's this great community of people that you can be working with, like, that's going to make it so much more attractive for the labels.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's, and then, not only that, it's, you're working with, different videographers, and maybe, this specific artist blows up, and then you start paying attention who shot that video. Or you start paying attention to maybe who did that cover, or who did that too. And everybody's got a chance to do something.
Yep, and then it just keeps moving forward.
Yeah.
Someone, let's say, I have an example, Young Thug.
Okay.
He just saw this random, like, cover art that someone just made a concept of him, and he literally inboxed himself and like made them delete it, but they're just like, oh yeah, I'm about to pay you for this because I really like it.
Right.
You never know who will see it.
Definitely.
Just like just keep going, doing what you do. You don't have to worry about. That's the one thing I feel like a lot of people do. They worry about what other people are doing. Yeah. And then they forget about what they're trying to do.
Exactly.
And then, like,
you get inspired by what they're doing.
Yeah,
like get motivated by that. You see someone doing good.
Don't get
work harder.
Yeah.
Do you do it?
Gotta get to where you want to go.
Exactly, exactly. Because when I see that stuff happening, and it not only does it make me proud, but it's like that is what keeps me going doing this stuff. And it makes me like. So the studio is up for a tech award with the NAMM Show, which isn't something that a lot of people really like know about. But like to put it in perspective, like. So if you're an Academy Award nominated for an Oscar, like even if you're a nominee, you get to put that like as part of your resume type thing, right? So just getting nominated is kind of a big deal, and it's recognized by the industry, and only the industry. Yeah. So that's who's voting on everything from studio executives to labels to gear manufacturers to all these things. So that's another way for this city to like have a spotlight on for a little bit, because the voting process is going to be for these next couple of months, and like so I sent out. Press release to like all the major news stations and then all the little guys on the internet. And I didn't hear back from anybody. Not once. No one even said a word to me. And I'm like, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this city be better. Proud of what we're doing here. Yeah. And so that's why that made me even more motivated to want to be building this community, because if you're not going to pay attention to us, and then we're gonna make you listen. We're gonna
make our own outlet.
Exactly. Like, it makes me like. So the studio is up for a tech award with the NAMM Show, which isn't something that a lot of people really like know about. But like to put it in perspective, like, so if you're an Academy Award nominated for an Oscar, like even if you're a nominee, you get to put that like as part of your resume type thing, right? So just getting nominated is kind of a big deal, and it's recognized by the industry, and only the industry. Yeah. So that's who's voting on everything from studio executives to labels to gear manufacturers to all these things. So that's another way for this city to like have a spotlight on for a little bit, because the voting process is going to be for these next couple of months. And like so I sent out press release to like all the major news stations and then all the little guys on the internet. And I didn't hear back from anybody. Not once. No one even said a word to me. And I'm like, this is what we're trying to do. We're trying to make this city be proud of what we're doing here. Yeah. And so that's why that made me even more motivated to want to be building this community, because if you're not going to pay attention to us, and then we're gonna make you listen. We're gonna
make our own outlet.
Exactly. We're gonna make this ourselves. Yeah. Like we don't need anybody. We have way too much here. And there's so much talent right now that we can do this.
And we could do it like
whatever that might be. And that's what's great about what you're doing too, is like it's giving so many people the opportunity to not only like you said, see who they are, but then for us to kind of be like, well, hey, this is who we are. Yeah. And without there's no like agendas behind it too. Like we all just want to see everybody succeed.
That's all.
Like,
that's all.
We're
and just building towards something, and that's it.
Right. And that's what's so great about what I feel this city is that we do have so many, and we can't I can't do this all by myself. You can't do it all by yourself. Yeah, we all have to have all these other talented people around, and if we're all working together.
If we're all working together, we can't be stopped.
Exactly. Absolutely. And so, I'm excited about where things are going.
Definitely excited. Yeah. I'll tell you off camera about a little idea I have. Okay. It's definitely. I feel like it's definitely going to be a platform for a lot of people. It's gonna. Yeah. I feel like it definitely be a platform.
That's awesome.
Again, I just want to thank you for coming out.
Yeah, no, thank you. I really, truly appreciate it.
No problem. Hit up HiFive Studios.
Yes, please.
Top studio in the city.
That's what we're working for. And one last thing. So it's the last Wednesday or as close to it as possible, last Wednesday of every month. We have a huge networking event that we do here. It's free. It's like 6 to 11 or 12. We got open jams. We got people talking. About 100 people or so, came here 2 days ago. But check it out on Facebook. It's just a fantastic way to kind of meet everybody in the city in just a really relaxed atmosphere, and especially if you're trying to work with musicians, just seeing how they operate,
how they work,
and be able to play with people together, because you can have the opportunity to meet somebody that can play on your record for you, or do something, and you can see exactly how they are and how you vibe with them together, and just being able to meet more people and build a community like we're talking about.
Definitely. Thank you guys for tuning in. Got HiFive riding. Have a good one.
Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. Do this shit till the morning, that shit in the morning. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. Do this shit till the morning, that shit in the morning. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. She like to sip on that Patron, or I see my robe, yeah. But no makeup, no clothes, then her skin is glowing. I ain't gotta say much, I'ma leave it to emotion. Leave it up to touch, rub you down with the lotion. She gets them on when I'm stroking. Roll the dust, now we smoking. Pretty lights by the ocean. Those little things I'm gonna notice. A little faded when I'm focused. Gonna hold you, so I wrote this. A little lost, but I found you. I feel young when I'm around you. At high school, I'm crushing. Take it slow, no rushing. Sit there rocking like a Russian. Sit the righteous with the 100. I'ma give you 100. You on my mind like my money. Stack it up, she counting for me. Put it right up in the tummy. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. Do this shit till the morning, that shit in the morning. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. Do this shit till the morning, that shit in the morning. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Swear I missed you before, spoiler that foreplay. Find the pennies on the floor, see with my dress like it's okay. Do this shit till the morning, that shit in the morning. Poppin' corn, sippin' Moet. Long hair with the side fade. Dress shirt with the cufflinks. My eyes low like Norway. I'm making movie, yeah, that way. Courtside to the ball game. Met a few, made a crew. Now we speeding in the fast lane. Met a few before you, baby girl, I got practice. City kid with an accent. Damn, you looking like an actress. Tryna see you on a mattress. She coming through, need the address. Been ballin' like a maverick. Mapped it out, it's an atlas. Had to let the twins balance. That's the story on the song. It's tryna take you home. Sippin' little Patron, rippin' off your clothes. Got you drippin', I'ma go, yeah, I'ma go get it told. Shawty, she could ride with me. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. Do the shit till the morning, that shit in the morning. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. Do the shit till the morning, that shit in the morning. Put my number in the phone, I see knocking on my door, yeah. Next thing that I know, find the pennies on the floor, yeah. Is it just me, or is it the liquor talking? Is it just me, or do you feel something? Is it just me, or is it the liquor talking? Is it just me, or do you feel